Shopping for the garden may not be the top thing that's on your list or foremost in your mind in the fall, but the fact of the matter is that there are some really great deals to be had for gardeners in the fall and the late fall. I like to shop in the late fall, even though maybe your options are a little lower, but I'm going for deep discount prices, and those are the best times to get them. So what are some of the things that you should look for on sale in the fall that are worth buying? The first would be garden seed. And this can be for anything. It can be for flowers, it can be for vegetables, it can be for absolutely anything that you plan on planting either over the winter indoors, seed starting for next year, or direct sowing in the garden next year. So here's a big question. If I buy seed now, they will say that they're packed for this year that I'm currently in. And are they going to be any good next year? Most of your seed will, almost all of it. Your seed life has a much longer shelf life than what you might think of, because they are offered for sale brand new every year in the store. But the fact of the matter is that those seed companies are always going to offer the newest and freshest and best seed, because that's their job, that is their work. But most seed on average will last between 3 and 5 years, some longer. There are a few that don't have a very good shelf life, that don't germinate well after about a year. Those are things in the allium family, like onions from seed, parsnips, parsley. Some will say carrots, some will say carrots have a longer life than that. So if I have leftover carrot seed, what I tend to do is just overplant it and kind of hedge for that low germination. That's a little bit beside the point. But the fact is that most things that you can buy, that seed's still going to be good for a good long time. Just get it, store it well until you're ready to use it, and it's going to be great for your garden next year. But this time of year in the late fall, you can get that seed 50% off or better sometimes. You know, they're not going to keep it around because they're selling new fresh seed next season. They're not going to take out the old stock and resell that. So they want to get rid of it. They don't want to deal with it. They want to get rid of it. They want to try and at least recoup their wholesale price from it. So seed is one. Another good one is any perennial. Perennials, as long as you can dig in your ground, you can still plant perennials. I mean, I'm talking even semi-frozen. Other option is that perennials can be left in the pots and overwintered. You can let them go dormant, keep them cool, make sure they're watered to just a moist degree when they go in there. Check them a few times through the winter, make sure that the soil is not drying out completely, keeping those roots moist even though they're growing either very slowly or maybe not at all. But perennials are a great bargain. Again, home centers, garden centers, they may keep a few of the really valuable ones around, but for the most part, they're not going to deal with them. It's just a lot of space and manpower that they don't have to give to it. And the beauty of perennials is that, you know, they're going to last forever. They're going to last a lifetime, years. So buying them at a discount now, you know, you can get them in either now or in the spring. Get your perennial garden off to a great start for half or even less. Deep discounts can be had on perennials in the late fall. Bulbs. So we're talking mostly the fall planted bulbs, and you might think that why would they clear those out? Well, it does get to a point in the season where they're left with stock and they know that this isn't going to be any good to sell for another year, because by then they're going to have sat in some warehouse or storage or something. They're just going to be too dried out. They're going to be no good. They're not going to stand behind them. So they'd rather clear them out. This pack I got yesterday, I think I got it 20% off. It might have even been deeper than that. So, you know, the later you get into the season, even though it is fall bulb planting season for spring flowering bulbs, you can still get some great discounts if you're looking a little later in the season. Herbs are another great one. You know, herbs, you're going to have to kind of check your zone, check the hardiness of them. They're variable in hardiness. Honestly, you know, sage and rosemary here for me are both very borderline. I typically do not get them to overwinter. Once in a great while, I'll get really lucky and they'll overwinter. But that's okay, because, you know, I can also take this inside, grow it inside, or buy You know, a lot of times I find it's not even worth digging this up. It doesn't like the transplant and the roots being disturbed. So it's just cheaper and easier for me to go to the garden center and find a smaller potted version on sale at a deep discount this time of year in the late fall and grow it inside. And then I have fresh garden herbs right there for me to pick anytime that I'm cooking. So, you know, there are a lot of deals to be had out there. Those are some of the tops. Some other things to look for, because you might find them, they may or may not clear them out, but a lot of places will, are things like soil, amendments for soil, mulches, even some garden tools. And I've even seen now that some are coming up with even like some planting trays and some seed starting things. I was a little surprised to see that in the fall for sale, but I did see that, and I think that part of that is the trend towards indoor growing and having something fresh at hand all year long. You know, one thing that I think I forgot to mention with the seeds, but I did want to mention, is that not only are those garden seeds, a lot of them great for your next garden, but they're excellent for microgreens growing. So things like spinach, radish, kale, most of your greens, lettuces, you can grow them as microgreens or baby lettuces. The thing about those is that they're very seed intensive, so they tend to be expensive to grow, and it's hard to kind of do those economically. But this is one of the ways that you make it more affordable, is by going there, getting all the packets on clearance sale and using those for your microgreens, because there's no difference between those and a seed that is labeled as a microgreen. I would stay away from any seed that's treated, because you're that much closer to the seed when you are harvesting as a microgreen or a baby green. But other than that, you know, most of your garden seed is the same thing that's in those packages of expensive microgreen seed. So there you have it. You know, get out, check your places like once a week, stop in, even if you don't have anything to buy, see what they're clearing out, because the deals could be really great. There's a lot of deals to be had on trees and shrubs in the late fall, and trees and shrubs love being planted in the fall. You know, it's cool weather, they're not stressed by the hot weather. Just keep them moist and watered until your winter sets in. They're going to take off and grow. You're going to have trees and berries and bushes ready to take off in the spring, all set, and for half the price or less. So again, get out there to your garden centers, see what deals are had, and keep in mind that this is a great time of year in the late fall to be buying up all those leftovers at great prices.